or anything like that. But based on multiple conversations that I've had, it does seem like the most likely scenario is that Kelsey Plum would move on from the Aces.
The Las Vegas Aces, once WNBA champions, are now in turmoil. It started when Kelsey Plum declined a contract extension, and tensions have only grown. A'ja Wilson is visibly frustrated, and the locker room is tense. Coach Becky Hammon seems overwhelmed, struggling to manage the situation. What was once a championship team is now facing major challenges. Stay tuned for more on this developing story.
When it comes to somebody like Kelsey Plum, she's coming off a difficult personal year, and she's emphasized that she wants to take time for herself, which is why she said that she pulled out of Unrivaled. So we're not necessarily in the position to, with respect to what she said, to ask her directly, and that would be the best indicator here. But of course, you mentioned my reporting, I can pull and cite a few quotes that kind of imply that, the same way that Satu said that she's working with the Dallas organization, that's been the implication, that the Aces are working to find a situation where, quote unquote, everybody's happy, which is exactly what Becky Hammon said to me about a month ago in regards to Kelsey Plum's situation.
Kelsey Plum's decision to decline a contract extension has shaken the Las Vegas Aces. What was once a strong championship caliber team is now facing uncertainty. This move could signal the start of a major downfall for the Aces.
What's been a little surprising, and I think why there's so much conversation, at least from what I'm seeing, about Kelsey Plum, is that during the season when the rest of the core Aces, the other, they're the core four: A'ja, Chelsea, Jackie Young, and Kelsey Plum. So when her other three, counterparts, they signed extensions, she did not.
Why would Kelsey Plum leave a successful team? After a challenging personal year, she's seeking a fresh start. Despite impressive stats, minus 17.8 points, 4.2 assists, and 42% shooting, now, the Golden State Valkyries, with $1.2 million in cap space, are positioned to make a move, supported by a secret weapon that could tip the scales in their favor.
What I do think is interesting is that there is a team that will be coming to the league this year, the Golden State Valkyries, and a part of me just kind of feels like that might be a fresh start for Kelsey Plum if she does decide that she wants to move on from the Aces. To me, it gives them an opportunity to have a great perimeter scorer, which we know that Kelsey Plum is, but it also will add a little bit of familiarity for her because the new head coach was the former assistant coach in Las Vegas, and I think that that could also be something that plays well, where you're getting a new environment and you're getting a new experience, but you're also still working with someone who knows you and knows you well, so you get a bit of the best of both worlds.
Here's the twist. The Valkyries head coach, Natalie Enmai, and Kelsey Plum share a strong bond. They've even done 6 o'clock a.m. Pilates sessions together. This connection could make Plum feel right at home in New Jersey. It's not just about the money, it's about finding a team where she truly belongs.
To me, that's the most intriguing destination for Kelsey. I totally understand the fit. You mentioned perimeter scoring for the Valkyries, and they'll absolutely need that. But I think also she brings this, veteran championship mentality that Natalie Nakaze has emphasized that she wants to cultivate in the Golden State. And so to me, that would just be knock out of the park. And they have the room to do it. They're just building their roster. Cap space is not going to be a problem. So that stands out to me.
But wait, there's more. The Valkyries aren't the only team interested in Plum. Rumors are swirling about a potential sign and trade deal with the Chicago Sky. It's like a high-stakes poker game, with Plum holding all the cards.
From the Aces, you mentioned that she did not sign an extension, and former general manager Natalie Williams told me before she and the Aces parted ways that, Kelsey was offered an extension and declined.
Now, you might think it's just a moment of frustration, but here's where it gets intense. A'ja Wilson's been letting her feelings show, and it's not just about one player. She's calling out the entire team. The superstar is saying her teammates aren't pulling their weight, but here's the twist. While A'ja is pointing fingers, the team is falling apart even faster. Her high-energy demands are causing tension in the locker room. Some players are fueled by her passion, but others are feeling the strain, and it's not in a positive way. It's like watching a pressure cooker ready to explode.
Us as black women, Paige reminds me a lot of you. You're not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, she's good at basketball, obviously. But, she understands her privilege and, pushes her over the top, in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. That's...
You might be wondering, isn't A'ja Wilson still dominating on the court? Here's the thing. She's still putting up impressive numbers, but something feels off. It's like watching a queen try to rule a kingdom that's slipping away. The pressure of being the team's leader and the face of the franchise is starting to take its toll. With each game and each frustrated outburst, it's clear she's beginning to feel the weight of it all.
I just have a very hard time imagining the Las Vegas Aces without that core four. They were all drafted there. right? I mean, they were all drafted there. And so, I mean, look, as a Warriors fan, losing Klay Thompson, I can sort of relate to this, but that would be quite a blow for a team like Vegas. They came up together. They won 2 championships together.
Remember when the Aces were unstoppable? That's fading quickly. The frustration isn't just personal, it signals something deeper. They've relied on past victories, but the reality is catching up. It's like living in a Vegas fantasy, where the house always wins. The real shock, it's not just about losing games, it's about losing what made them great, her leadership. The woman who once inspired with a smile is now at the center of tension. Watching her struggle, you have to ask, can she turn it around?
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna try to be the best. I get y'all saying best player in the world, that's great, it looks great. But I want to be the best person. I want to be the best teammate, because that's how I get the best out of my team.
Remember when Becky Hammon was at the top, basking in championship glory? Those days seem far behind now. Hammon's caught in a struggle that's turning her championship ring into more of a burden than a triumph. You might think she can turn things around, but here's the twist. It's not just anger she's facing, it's disappointment. And in sports, that's harder to deal with than any loss, like hearing your mom say she expected more from you.
And something else interesting to me is that the Aces seem like they have a lot of decisions to make, and they haven't replaced their GM. And I was reading, your reporting, and I saw all this we're making decisions by committee, which I found curious. How long is that going to go on?
I know that when I spoke to Becky last month, it was unclear. I requested to interview Natalie Williams recently, and the Aces declined. So obviously this is something that they don't want to talk about right now. But to me, it seems quite unlikely that they're going to even make a hire. And I know that it feels like they're trying to leave that up in the air. That's what Becky Hammon tried to, I think, imply. And when I've spoken to Nikki Fargas, team president, and you look at their unrestricted free agents, like we've already talked about Kelsey Plum, but what about Tiffany Hayes and Alicia Clark and Sydney Colson? Like those are people that, feel so important to this team, and all of that is kind of just in flux right now. So you would hope to see some decisions soon. I guess that's what this time is all about. There's so much change facing this team. We talked about Nala Nakaze leading the Golden State Valkyries, but then we also have Tyler Marsh gone to, take the helm at the Chicago Sky. No general manager. I'm told that the assistant coaching staff might not even be complete. Like we might hear of another hire soon, which is, I'm trying to kind of navigate in my mind how that would look, because right now they already have 3 assistants. So a lot is changing, and they also only have 6 players under contract for this upcoming season.
Becky also, I think she made the statement, something along the lines like, it's just not like we're not going to look the same that we've looked in the past, right? Which makes total sense, right? Again, as I just said, you kind of in your mind have this idea that teams are always going to look the way they look, and the reality is that's just not possible.
There's a huge amount of gratitude, I would say, to Lynn Dunn and to Allison Barber for everything that they did to kind of stabilize and get things pointed in the right direction as well. Those are some tough years. You don't get 2 number 1 picks in the draft by having a great team and great years. You go through some peaks and valleys. So I really feel like we're poised and we're set up for a great, successful next era of Fever basketball.
Amber and I and Kelly are just talking about, players and evaluations before we came out here, and building quality depth is going to be important. When you have a core 3 like we have, surrounding them with players who are going to fill the roles, certainly, first and foremost, who are going to embrace the roles, secondly, and who give us the best opportunities for success by complementing what they do really, really